Thank you for tuning in to Miss Tracy and Clarity today. Today we will address the women who always had a father when their biological didn't bother. I love seeing videos on Instagram when the fathers show love to their daughters and sons. It's the sweetest thing to witness. I wouldn't date men who didn't take care of their kids, period. My father wasn't a deadbeat. He paid his child support religiously. Yet he just couldn't keep the dots connected between us physically. There was a scandal surrounding my birth. I'll have to address that situation on another episode. I remember my father would visit me, and I come running to him because I knew he was going to pick me up and call me his baby girl. My dad looked like Rick Ross with an afro. I've always had to date a man that was tall and had facial hair. They say girls date guys that resemble their dad. I would agree. He was the highlight of my day. He was the first man I loved. He was the first man to abandon me. I made sure he was the last man to abandon me. I have walked away from the majority of my relationships because of this abandonment mentality. It does affect your children. I know better now, but I had to grow into that maturity. I have been fortunate for someone who has kids by different dads. They were there for their children. They could have done better, yet I wasn't the one interfering or getting in the way because of some emotional BS. I was fortunate to marry a man who had enough love for me and my children. He's even there for them after the divorce, and that speaks volumes for him. I always let him know how grateful I am for his presence in their lives because they can be tested sometimes. My boys tripped more when they were younger. Now that they are full-grown men, they don't too much care about reconnecting with their biological fathers. I do feel a stepfather's presence made them less thirsty for their father's love. My oldest daughter is concerning me. Her and her dad's problem is distance. When we broke up, I moved back to my hometown, and it caused a rift between the two. I own that. I have told her that. I believe her dad loves her. He has just gotten older. I took 2 guys off child support. It's an awful chain around the neck for men. I know God's my source. I remember getting a $2 check in the mail. Yep, you heard me. The court actually wasted paper printing me a check for 8 whole quarters. I didn't even cash it. I made a souvenir out of it. I had one last final discussion with her father before completely stepping out of the picture. I told him the problem she was having with the males that crossed her path. I told him he better figure out how to give her the game before we lost her. Unfortunately, he dropped the ball. I couldn't take up for him anymore or make any excuses. Children recognize their father's efforts on their own. I know men who will move hell and high water to get to their child. If you have female children, don't dismiss their feelings. They can be a pain in the ass sometimes. But just like you finesse their mama, you have to finesse them too and make it right. Don't worry about them seeing the faults of their mother. They'll see the flaws on their own. Just own your part and connect the dots between you two and keep them connected. She is a part of you. She can be a blessing or a curse to you. It's up to the Father. She didn't ask you to be here. Bless her anyway. Hallelujah anyhow. Bless her and let God take care of the rest. Everybody knows their limits. So if she's making it hard to love her, then love her from a distance. You can be a praying daddy. Your role is just as important as the mother's. Don't minimize your presence for anyone. I could have avoided a lot of BS with my dad in the picture. I'm sure my daughter would have navigated a few things better had her dad been more involved. She expressed to me she just wasn't comfortable opening up to her dad because of the distance. I understood. I try to keep her heart open towards him just in case he figure out how to get it right. But until then, I just have to put them in God's hands. He allowed it, so let time run its course. If you have your daughter in the palm of your hand, bless you. If you have distance with your daughter, Ask yourself, is there anything you can do better? I know some of these mothers can be trying. I've witnessed some awful Jerry Springer arguments in the hood. It's all about how you choose to handle it. I've never seen my parents argue. Not one time. Just look at what you can do. God knows the intentions of your heart. God knows how to surround you with favor. Just do your part and connect the dots. I hope you got some nuggets out of today's episode. If you have any questions, you can contact me at misstracyandclarity@gmail.com. That's MST as in Tom, RACIAND as in dog, CLARIT as in Tom, Y @gmail.com. Godspeed.